Sean Diddy Combs isn't the only one in the family facing some serious accusations, and while the rapper has been criminally charged and arrested, his sons have been named in recent lawsuits. But could those allegations lead to more charges for the...
Diddy's sons are reportedly growing concerned about the potential fallout from their father's actions and could be considering speaking out to safeguard themselves. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has suggested that they might disclose information about him. Recently, King Combs, one of Diddy's sons, released a track that mentions several people, including 50 Cent and notably his own father.
This record that King Combs came out with, where he was coming at 50 and coming at everybody, coming at his dad, like, how you feel about that record?
Well, first, I want to say to this young man, before somebody take his head off, because see, that's that new school bull crap with these kids out here. They easy to fly out their mouth with that. You don't invite a man to your private. You don't invite a man to your private unless you doing the Diddy. If two men lay down, how many homos get up? Let me tell you, young man, 2 of them. You understand? So don't invite a man to your private because that man will see you and take.
Gene Deal started by warning King Combs, emphasizing that aiming at someone like 50 Cent in a diss track could have serious consequences.
Somebody like 50. You don't send or let a boy do a man's job. I don't know if he need that type of attention or he want that type of attention. Evidently he do. But 50 is the wrong dude that you want to do that type of attention, get that kind of attention from, bro. And the infamous words of Waka Flocka, that go hard in the paint. And I don't believe that this cat would even put out some trash like that and really didn't know what he was doing. He's teasing the federal government. And I told y'all, the Southern District of New York do not play. So King Kong just put another battery in their back. And you see after he did that, something get leaked to the press. Do you notice that, right? As soon as he did that dumb talking about, well, we did this and we did that. We had this over here. Y'all went to the wrong house. Some went to, he said, well, we're going to show you how wrong we are. Yo, CNN, run this. Action, roll them. Don't play with the feds, bro. Because you got to realize this. They got a lot of time. All they got is time.
Gene Deal delivered a stern warning to King Combs, cautioning that taking on someone as influential as 50 Cent is a bold but perilous decision. He described it as a high. Diddy's sons are reportedly growing concerned about the potential fallout from their father's actions and could be considering speaking out to safeguard themselves. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has suggested that they might disclose information about him. Recently, King Combs, one of Diddy's sons, released a track that mentions several people, including 50 Cent and notably his own father.
Played a part in that video coming up. You know, him making a comment saying that, you know, they forgot to raid the house next door that his dad owned. Yeah, man, he was wilding out, man.
Yeah, I think he was just bullshit. I don't believe he bought the house next door. Because let me just tell you something. If anything or any name that had to do with Bad Boy, the federal government going to run that. They know all the properties Diddy have. They wasn't even talking about the raid that they did in New York. But they did a raid in New York too.
Yeah, I ain't hear about that raid. I only heard about the, you know, the LA and Miami raid. But you feel like the feds, they released that video over King Kong's comments.
Oh man, I've worked in law enforcement for 27 years. And I had the opportunity to see HIDA. It's a place, whereas they have the state, the feds, the NYPD, the Department of Corrections, and the state police. Yo, this place could be half of a basketball court. That's where they just got lines of computers with officers of all different people and officers just on the internet. Whoever's over that case, whoever's working that case, don't you know they saw that and took it to their boss? You might think it's petty, but it's not. You do not agitate a lion with a pork chop. And that's what that kid did, bro.
Gene Deal started by warning King Combs, emphasizing that aiming at someone like 50 Cent in a diss track could have serious consequences.
Hey everyone, my name is Damian Williams, and I'm the U.S. Attorney here in the Southern District of New York. Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice.
Gene Deal delivered a stern warning to King Combs, cautioning that taking on someone as influential as 50 Cent is a bold but perilous decision. He described it as a high-stakes gamble for the younger generation, one that could carry significant risks. Gene further speculated that King's recent moves might be tied to the surge of media reports, including rumors of a federal raid that reportedly overlooked a property associated with Diddy.
Not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers.
A video allegedly depicting a confrontation between Diddy and Cassie has sparked widespread controversy. Shortly after Diddy's appearance in Manhattan federal court, his son, Christian King Combs, reportedly arrived with a group to request copies of Diddy's indictment. The indictment, unsealed on September 17, accuses Diddy of racketeering conspiracy and related offenses.
Rising that a lot of people have been speaking out since the arrest and indictment of Sean Diddy Combs on federal sex racketeering charges. But now that includes the woman behind a lawsuit against his son, Christian Combs. So Sean Combs was indicted in federal court last week. He's going to be going up against the formidable prosecutors of the Southern District of New York. And until then, he's locked up at what's called the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. And this is a jail which has housed other celebrity inmates at times. It's been plagued with issues like unsanitary conditions, fights between inmates. There's a status conference for his case scheduled for October 10th. But as Combs now faces these criminal charges, there is a separate legal team that is dealing with the multiple civil lawsuits that are pending against him. And one of those complaints was filed by a woman named Grace O'Markey. So O'Markey was apparently a steward working aboard a yacht that was rented by Sean Combs in December of 2022 for a holiday celebration with his family, when she claims she was sexually assaulted by Christian Combs. And within weeks of Sean Combs' homes being raided back in March by federal agents, O'Markey filed a civil complaint against Christian and named his father, Sean Combs, in the suit as well for allegedly facilitating this to occur.
A defendant in the criminal case, it certainly does add to context. And so now I could see now on the defense side them wanting to do something akin to a bill of particulars where they want to get more information from how actually the prosecution intends to prove this case, because they've left it so open that pretty much any of those bad acts could.
And so you're kind of laying the groundwork for how possibly Grace O'Markey could testify in a federal case, but there's a lot of things that need to happen before that. So I want to talk a little bit more about this. So we have Christian King Combs, 26-year-old model rapper, third oldest son of Sean Combs, who's one of 3 children that Combs shares with the late model Kim Porter. She died in 2018. And we go back to the raids that happened in Los Angeles and Miami back in March. Combs' sons, specifically in LA, Christian and Justin, they were handcuffed and they were led out of the home as investigators from Homeland Security went in to collect the evidence. 30-year-old Justin is Combs' oldest biological son, who he had with a fashion designer named Nisa Hilton.
Seated in an orange chair, King Combs and his group quietly examined the 14-page indictment detailing the serious allegations against Diddy. The document accuses him of orchestrating and participating in controversial activities, some of which were reportedly documented on video.
Los Angeles raid on her Instagram page, and the footage, which appears to come from security cameras around the home, has been edited and sped up in places. And she writes, quote, "The overzealous and overtly militarized force used against my sons Justin and Christian is deplorable. If these were the sons of a non-black celebrity, they would not have been handled with the same aggression." Christian, by the way, celebrated his birthday 1 week after the raids, posting photos of his lavish celebrations on his Instagram story. And he also posted this to his story: "Stop with the blue cap emoji." Cap is slang for lying. And then on April 4th, Grace O'Markey filed her civil lawsuit in Los Angeles.
Federal authorities revealed that in March, they confiscated narcotics and over 1,000 bottles of various substances from Diddy's properties in Miami and Los Angeles, allegedly linked to controversial activities. This came after an April lawsuit in which both Diddy and King were named as defendants in a case filed by Grace Mark in Los Angeles Superior Court, further intensifying the growing list of allegations.
The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a place that's been described as hell on earth. Fox 6's Lisa Evers is at MDC right now on Diddy's life behind bars. Lisa, what are you finding out tonight?
Well, Natasha and Steve, for the first time in his life, Sean Diddy Combs has spent a week behind bars. He's here inside MDC, where he's been since his arrest on Monday night on federal sex and other charges, to all of which he's pleaded not guilty. There's no VIP section, there is no concierge, only conmen, killers, and kingpins. MDC is so bad, federal judges have questioned the harsh conditions for those here awaiting trial. So bad, I was here 2 years ago during a cold spell, reporting on detainees with no heat, pounding on windows for help. There was even a congressional inquiry. But take the word of a former inmate I spoke with who goes by Esco.
It's terrible. The food is terrible. Of course, the inmates are terrible. The guards are terrible. The conditions are terrible. It's just terrible.
The inmates that you're surrounded around, just in general, a lot of them are brought up on pretty heavy federal indictments, right? So just in terms of the atmosphere there, it's just certainly one that no one wants to be in.
Combs was placed in a special housing unit and on watch, the standard protocol for high-profile celebrity detainees. The disgraced mogul was denied bail by 2 separate judges. His attorney, Mark Agnifilo, asked the court to transfer him to the federal detention section at the Essex County Jail, but the judge deferred to the Bureau of Prisons. The isolation may be the worst part for Combs. It's being done for his protection in the violence-prone facility. He will have no bunkie.
He's probably not going to have any contact with any other inmates. So for him, it's going to be a little different than for a person like me, where I will go in, I will go through process and intake, and then they'll assign me a cell, and I'll have a bunkie or a cellmate, and I'll be in population.
For him to be able to get out at this point.
Diddy being put on watch. How you feel about that?
Man, watch, it's the #1 cause of death statistically in the prison system. In order for him to get on watch, he just can't say, "I'm going to commit suicide." that helps. But he has to go through he has to have a psych evaluation. He has to, the correction officer, they had to monitor him and see what he has, we've been doing. Has he been crying all night? Those are some of the criterias. Saying that you're going to commit suicide, crying all night, doing some kind of self-mutilation, or trying to harm yourself, because everybody think because you were on suicide watch, you're in a good situation. Once they put you in suicide watch, bruh, you got to go to a cell, like a padded cell, by yourself with very little or no clothes on. You understand what I'm saying? So that suicide watch, when I heard it didn't, I wasn't surprised. Somebody who lived in mansions, travel all over the world, somebody who could go into any hotel, have any and everything at his beck and call. Now he's in a room that's a 10 by 10, if that, a cell. Bruh, if he was going to commit suicide and he was on the outside doing those city college days, just imagine what he's going to do or try to do while he's in prison and he don't have his cell phone. He don't have no maids. You understand? He better hope that they want to make a deal, but I don't think so. Or they want somebody else. He better hope. And he got something to offer them. Even if he got something to offer him, you got to realize, bro, like, you got kingpins, you got dealers, you got people who make deals, there's murders and killers. They make a deal and they still get 25, 30 years in the feds. He's about 55 years old. If he do 15 years, that's 70 years. When he come out, he's 70 years old. He may not want to live like that. And then what he coming out to at 70 years old? He'll still have probably a little money to do something, but not to do nothing. So that's what he's looking at, bro.